facts about Jungkook revealed. PVH CEO Stefan Larsson finally speaks out. Hello army all around the globe. Welcome back to this channel, the place where we don't just celebrate the extraordinary journey of BTS, but where we go deeper. Here, we uncover the untold stories, the shocking revelations, and the hidden meanings behind the headlines. And today, we are going to talk about a story that has shaken the worlds of both music and fashion. A story that begins with a single name, Jungkook. But this is not just about Jungkook the singer, Jungkook the performer, or Jungkook the youngest member of BTS. This is about Jungkook, the global fashion phenomenon who has managed to rewrite the rules of branding, marketing, and cultural influence. And what makes this story even more extraordinary is the fact that it was confirmed by no other than Stefan Larsson himself, the CEO of PVH Corporation, the company that owns Calvin Klein. When a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar corporation speaks, the world listens. But when he speaks about Jungkook, it is more than just words, it is an admission that the world has changed. Calvin Klein's legacy, a brand built on boldness. To understand just how significant this moment is, we need to take a step back in time and revisit the history of Calvin Klein. Founded in New York in 1968, Calvin Klein quickly rose to fame because of its daring designs and provocative campaigns. In the 1980s, Calvin Klein shook the fashion world with its iconic jeans campaign featuring Brooke Shields, who famously said, "Nothing comes between me and my Calvins." It was bold. It was controversial. And it made Calvin Klein a household name. Soon after, their underwear campaigns featuring Kate Moss and Mark Wahlberg became cultural milestones. The 1990s belonged to Calvin Klein, who ruled not just fashion but also popular culture. But as the years passed, the brand struggled to stay relevant. Competitors came in, new trends rose, and Calvin Klein was no longer the cultural force it once was. That was until Jungkook entered the picture. PVH Corporation, the powerhouse behind Calvin Klein. Calvin Klein today operates under the umbrella of PVH Corporation, a global fashion giant that also owns brands like Tommy Hilfiger. At the top of this empire stands Stefan Larsson, a man with an eye for innovation and a track record of reviving brands. Larsson is not just a businessman. He is a strategist who understands that in today's world, cultural influence is just as important as product quality. So when he chose to bring Jungkook into Calvin Klein, it was not just a marketing move. It was a strategic masterstroke that forever changed the trajectory of the brand. The day Jungkook was announced as Calvin Klein ambassador. Do you remember that day, ARMY? When Calvin Klein officially revealed Jungkook as their new global ambassador, the internet practically broke. The campaign images dropped, and instantly, they spread like wildfire. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everywhere you looked, there was Jungkook in Calvin Klein. It wasn't just a campaign. It was a cultural event. Within hours, Jungkook Calvin Klein trended in dozens of countries. Articles popped up in every major fashion magazine, from Vogue to Elle, declaring Jungkook as the new face of modern fashion. And then, the unimaginable happened. Calvin Klein's official website crashed because of the massive traffic surge from fans trying to buy everything Jungkook wore. This wasn't advertising. This was history in the making. Stefan Larsson's shocking confession. Months later, Stefan Larsson was asked about the collaboration. And what he revealed left the fashion industry stunned. He said, "The impact Jungkook has had on Calvin Klein is bigger than any celebrity collaboration we've had in the last decade." Think about that for a moment. This wasn't just praise. This was an acknowledgement that Jungkook had done what no one else had been able to do for years. He made Calvin Klein relevant again. Larsson added that Jungkook brings something rare and irreplaceable, authenticity. He explained that when Jungkook wears Calvin Klein, it doesn't look forced. It doesn't look like a paid advertisement. It looks natural. It looks real. And that is why people connect with it. The Jungkook Effect, numbers don't lie. Let's break down the measurable impact of Jungkook's presence. Sales boom. Every Calvin Klein item Jungkook model sold out, from denim jackets to simple t-shirts. Website traffic. Calvin Klein's website recorded one of its highest traffic spikes in history after Jungkook's campaign launched. Global expansion: markets in Asia, particularly South Korea, Japan, and China, saw explosive growth. Brand value: industry analysts reported a significant rise in Calvin Klein's brand valuation post-Jungkook. This phenomenon even earned its own name in the media, the Jungkook Effect. Cultural shift: a new era for fashion. But Jungkook's influence goes beyond numbers. It represents a cultural shift. For decades, global fashion houses mostly relied on Western faces to represent their brands. Jungkook shattered that tradition. Here was a young man from South Korea, a K-pop idol, stepping into the same space once dominated by Hollywood stars and supermodels. And not only did he fit in, he redefined what it meant to be a global fashion icon. With Jungkook, Calvin Klein wasn't just an American brand anymore. It became a truly global brand. Why Jungkook is different from everyone else? Other ambassadors have worn Calvin Klein before. Justin Bieber brought youthful rebellion. Kendall Jenner embodied high-fashion glamour. Mark Wahlberg and Kate Moss symbolized the raw energy of the 90s. But Jungkook is different. He is not just a model. He is a performer, a singer, a dancer, and an artist with a fanbase unlike any other. When Jungkook poses for Calvin Klein, fans don't just see clothes. They see a story. They see a man who rose from humble beginnings in Busan to become one of the most recognizable faces on the planet. That emotional connection is something no brand can buy. And that's what makes Jungkook's partnership with Calvin Klein so powerful. Future speculations: what's next for Jungkook and Calvin Klein? After Stefan Larsson's shocking confession, the fashion world began to speculate. Could Jungkook launch his own Calvin Klein collection? Could we see a Jungkook x Calvin Klein capsule line, designed with his personal touch? Will Calvin Klein make him their long-term global icon, cementing his place in fashion history? Imagine a line of clothing inspired by Jungkook's style, casual, minimalistic, but with a hint of boldness. A collection that represents not just fashion, but also music, culture, and youth. If this happens, it could go down as one of the most successful collaborations in fashion history. ARMY, the driving force behind it all. Of course, none of this would have been possible without ARMY. Whenever Jungkook appears in a campaign, ARMY doesn't just watch. They celebrate, they amplify, and they turn it into a global event. Billboards featuring Jungkook in Calvin Klein have become tourist attractions. Fans travel across cities just to take pictures of them. And every time Calvin Klein drops new products, ARMY ensures they sell out. This is why industry experts now call ARMY the most powerful consumer community in the world. They are not just fans. They are a global cultural movement. Conclusion: Jungkook, the icon of a new era. So what does all of this mean? It means that Jungkook is not just wearing Calvin Klein. He is Calvin Klein. Through his authenticity, his aura, and his bond with ARMY, Jungkook has turned a brand into a phenomenon. He has proven that cultural influence is more powerful than any marketing strategy. And as Stefan Larsson himself admitted, Jungkook has achieved something that no one else has done in over a decade. This is bigger than fashion. This is history. A question for ARMY. So ARMY, now it's your turn. What do you think the future holds for Jungkook and Calvin Klein? Do you believe we'll see a dedicated Jungkook x Calvin Klein line? Or do you think Jungkook will continue breaking boundaries in ways we can't even imagine yet? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that shape BTS and the world around them. Because with Jungkook, we're not just witnessing history, we're living it.